Um, what?
Please enjoy this feature presentation of the Crooked River Radio Network. This program may contain adult content and is intended for mature audiences only.
The views and opinions expressed by the Art of Argument podcast are those of its hosts or guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Crooked River Radio, Crooked River Media, its entities, or affiliates. Any content provided by its hosts or guests are their own opinion and are not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, club, organization, company, or individual. And now it's time for the argument.
Good evening, and welcome to your to the first run of. Hang on a second, I got to change this out. I was driving me nuts.
What was the name again?
It's the Art of Argument show. Yeah, I don't know if I had a chance to tell you that, but I thought you saw it. I'm going to go ahead and switch mics here so we can go ahead and start the. All right, I'm here, and we are live. This is the Art of Argument. Can you hear me, Dale?
Absolutely.
Oh, good, because we're live. Since we're live.
Doing something for me.
Keep your hands to yourself. And that should have
Like
fixed
rubbing the screen and shit.
That should have fixed the audio for.
You're good. You're good.
Did that fix the audio for Facebook?
JP Jr.'s got it.
Sure about that. I don't
Well,
want to
she said she did.
I don't want to do a whole show and not be able to hear it. All right.
You're good, right, Justine? Justine. It's on. She says she's good.
All right. Just as a as a kind of a background here, Dale and I have known each other for 25 plus years. He's my son-in-law. He's a Republican, and I am a kind of on the fence Democrat, but not all the way. There are certain things that I agree with Dale, but most of the stuff we argue about. We've argued about, well, hell, politics in the past. We've argued about religion. He sets me up and tries to upset me and get one up on me all the time. I know that for a fact. I've seen it done. But all in all, him and I've had a pretty good friendship. This is not a show that's going to take and piss me or him off. I don't know about everybody else, but we'll talk about that. But what it'll show us or show you guys is the art of argument. And there's nobody better on this earth that I'd rather argue with week by week than him. Right, Dale?
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah, right, Pat. All right. All right, let's pick a topic here.
Well, see, I can't say right because that's what you told me to say. That's why I said absolutely.
All right.
Because I can't totally agree with you.
Yeah, heaven forbid. You should actually agree with me.
Absolutely.
But anyway, let's pick a topic and show them what we got. What do you want to talk about?
I don't know. See, you come at me with, is God an alien? You come at me with the God gene. You came at me.
Oh, look at this, folks. We got notes.
Spain and TikTok. And then you threw
notes
in at the last minute this thing about commercializing the solar eclipse. So,
let's cover that first.
I've done no research on the solar eclipse thing, but I don't feel that I need to. I can handle that on my own.
We're both, as we should state from this point too, that we're both amateur radio operators, so we know quite a bit about what happens with atmospheric stuff and the planets and stuff like that, solar effect and everything like that. So that being said, we have a kind of a one-up on a lot of people. As far as commercializing the solar eclipse, let's talk about that first. I think myself, every time I watch the news, every time that I watch or listen to commercials here lately, it's all, you need to buy this because the solar eclipse is happening. You need to go here and pay to park and pay to sit in the benches and pay to get into these things. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand that a lot of this issue is you people wanting to make money. I got a little bit of an issue with that. This is not going to be some huge disaster for the world. You got a tiny strip that goes of the sun as it goes through. What is it about? I can see it out here. It's that big, and it's going to travel across the sky, and the moon's going to come over a little bit bigger and get in front of it, and you're going to see stuff that you're going to see a rare event that usually doesn't happen. What is it, every 44 years, something like that? Last time it happened was in 94 here. So you're talking roughly, 34 years. So, getting to the point where even on the news, and believe me, I watch two different news channels usually.
That's a problem.
I'm usually between channel 8 and 19. And each one of those, in their own aspects, says, this is going to be great. It's going to make millions of dollars for our area. Am I going to see it? Yeah. Are you going to see it, Dale? Do you think you're going to take and go out to your mailbox, and there's going to be a check in there for $1,000 on it that says, this was because you participated in the solar eclipse?
No, not unless I sold parking in my front yard or something. But yeah,
Why ruin your property?
exactly. I'm not selling parking spaces. For those out there, there are no parking spaces in my front yard. But
Yet,
no, but if you could sell something, sell it. This is why we call ourselves a capitalistic society. If you can sell something,
but there
sell it.
again,
People buying stupid shit every day.
but there again, why, it's that old adage, and I've said this to you. I couldn't count the number of times I've said this to you. I don't care what they do. Just don't keep throwing it in my face. And that's what they're doing with this crap. Every time you turn around, it's, here, buy this for the solar eclipse. Here, buy these. Here, get a pair of these. Get a pair of these cheap ass glasses. These solar glass, and make sure that it's got the it's got the company name on that, and make sure you got an ISO number right there, and put them on and look at the sun.
Well, guess what? You own a pair, don't you? Your video just stopped.
Your glasses after they're done. Oh crap.
Okay, I lost you for about, I don't know, almost a minute. But yeah, so you put your glasses on, which tells me as you're complaining about people selling these glasses, you got a pair. So what are we complaining about? Oh, well, but you're gone.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but everything up in front of me is a bunch of pictures of my face.
My computer locked up over there, so I came over to the studio. We'll just do this way. I'm not sure how I can add myself here without doing a whole lot of work. But anyway.
I mean, even Crooked River Radio's got my face on it. Then there's William Morrow that's doing nothing. And then Crooked River Radio is on there again.
Well, the Crooked River.
Whatever. But yeah. I'm the only thing Crooked River Radio is seeing, apparently.
Yeah, that's pretty much about it. Well, that machine back there locked up. I got to do some work on it, so we'll just run it from here for now. Hopefully, this one won't wallop up on me. Anyway, getting back to the discussion, what do you think? As far as, are you going to go out to your mailbox and see a check, or?
Well, I mean, no, I don't expect anybody to give me money. They're saying the businesses around our area should get more flow and should make more money. during this process if there is an influx of people coming to that certain area.
All right, let's take this a little further. Why do you have to shove that stuff down my throat, up my rear end, and down and into my eyes when I don't care? This is the
For
same
the same
things
reason,
we have talked about.
for the same reason that the news media and everything else shoves everything else down your throat, like, oh my God, Donald Trump. Oh my God, this
Oh,
person. Oh my God, that
we're-
person.
We're not
Oh my
going to get
God,
into
somebody
Trump
else.
today.
You're that this is because we have a society of robots that have been taught to listen to and believe everything that comes out of the news media as if it's the gospel truth.
I'm not a robot.
And the same thing is, oh, well, we're going to help these people make more money. It's
Dale, look.
the same thing. I mean, we shove, no matter what it is, we shove it down people's throats, whether it's religion, politics, buying a pair of glasses, or whatever else. We're going to shove it down people's throats. And unfortunately, in the society we live in today, there are too many people that are susceptible to this, and they just go along with what they're told.
Yeah, I can kind of see what you're saying. I'm trying to figure out something here, but I just don't see why it has to be shoved down my throat. You know, it's
Well,
we've got the
for
same.
the same reason
it's
that
the
everything
same
else
reason.
gets shoved down your throat.
Let's take
It's
this
just
from another
the
angle.
natural order of things right now.
Let's take this from another angle so that we can really get arguing. Take your, you have a transgender slash LBGTQ XYZ whatever.
Well, if they're transgender, they're already in the alphabet.
That's roughly, what did I read? 2 or 3% of the population. Okay, even let's say it's 10%. Even at 10%, why is 60-70% of the commercials you see on TV for drugs for those? Drugs to treat stuff that they've evidently made a wrong decision on, a wrong life decision. Or
I have to be honest, I don't watch much TV. I spend time going to the movie channels and watching movies that I've probably seen 75 times before. And occasionally I watch a new movie. But with that, no, I haven't seen too many ads on the transgender drugs, but if I did, I'd have been bitching about it.
You haven't watched the right ones then. Usually I watch a lot of late night television. I watch a lot in the mornings. And, you know, there's just times I don't have anything to do. But what it comes down to is probably 50 or 60% of the commercials that I watch or mute or whatever I got to do to get away from them are for HIV drugs. Is there that many people that have got HIV? If so, you probably made the wrong decision. You probably made a wrong life choice somewhere along the line. But you know, that's with me. I don't, like I said, I don't care what they do. They can jump out of an airplane and fudge pack all the way down. I don't care as long as I don't have to see it. As long as I don't have to have it shoved up my rear end. Well, that's.
Wow. Oh,
we won't
there's.
we won't even go there. Or taking.
Love it.
You know, I don't. The HIV stuff, the advertisements and that they do, I don't care. Why taking why don't go? Those advertisers can go take and do a target that money towards them, towards whatever they want to try to cure or whatever. That's just, I just don't care. Do you care? If you saw,
Well, just
if every
as
time
a
you turned
disclaimer, I don't want anything shoved up my rear end either. I mean, I have to agree with you on this, but on
yeah,
TV, hey, you talked to me the other day about freedom of speech. So, freedom of speech is we can put that on your commercials anytime we want to, and you can choose to watch it or you can choose not to. That's why I watch the movie channels, because you really don't have commercials on there. You just watch a movie and then you watch another movie, and you don't have to see all that stuff. And, it's kept me quite content, shall I say.
well, as far as for the sake of argument, I just, most of the time when I'm laying in bed, I almost always have to, we watch TV in bed all the time. And I
Hey,
always,
can you pop up your volume a tiny bit?
is that better?
Oh, yeah. You got to remember I'm deaf.
Okay. You got to consider, or when I lay in bed watching TV at night, because of those stupid commercials, I have to take and hold the remote in my hand. Because when they come on, the first thing I'm reaching for is a mute button. Now, these advertisers ought to take a look at who they're broadcasting to and see if it's really worth having them do all this, spend all that money and nobody's listening to it. And it's not just the gay stuff. There's several commercials that just bug the living hell out of me. You got the Shriners, with them abusing and exploiting the. Oh, come on. All right. All right, sorry about that. You got the Shriners.
Like everything went sideways for a minute.
Actually, that computer came back up. But hi over there. Yeah, it's up. So anyway, you got the Shriners. You've got the some of the other organizations that exploit the kids that they're using. That hospital, but the Danny Thomas Hospital. I can't think of it. It's not. What it's got.
You don't want a teddy bear blanket?
Oh, don't get me started. You can
Don't buy one.
You can go get an adorable blanket.
I've seen the commercials many times. Not much lately, but yes, I have in the past have seen that Shriners commercial that you're speaking of many times.
Don't you think they're
a couple of them.
Don't you think they're exploiting the kids?
I don't know. Maybe the aren't these children being taken care of for free?
Yeah, but that
so maybe they're just kind of giving back. Whether they're being taken care of for free, I don't quote me because I do not know that for sure. But if that is the case, maybe they're kind of giving back and trying to get people to help all the other children around them. So I'm kind of mixed on that one.
Exploiting children for the sake of money is one thing. I agree in part that you don't have to take and do that to the kids. You don't if the kids want to give back a little bit, that's one thing. But it just seems like they're being exploited. People are being exploited because of the fact that they're being begged for money by poor kids, or by, even if you go to the animal things with the sad music playing, and this poor dog has to drag this chain around that weighs more than him. You don't know what life is like for that dog. You don't know what life is like for those kids.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now
come
you're
on,
kinda
Dale.
hitting in
Come
my
on, Dale.
heartstrings.
Come on, Dale. Come on, I want to
You're
hear
kind
it.
of hitting in
Come
my
on.
heartstrings there.
Come on,
You
I
start
want to
messing
hear
with
it.
a puppy dog.
I'm ready to
Okay.
hear it.
If that dog is dragging around a chain, laying outside in the middle of winter, and ain't getting no food, and ain't getting no water, there's a problem. Okay, there is a definite problem, and it needs to be addressed. These people, buying pit bulls and turning them into evil animals, and stuff like that. A pit bull is not an evil animal. It's capable of being one, but it's not. Okay, they're very nice little puppy dogs, and then you got this little looks like a Pekingese or something like that, just laying out in the. Really, who puts their Pekingese out in the cold? It ain't like a yard dog. That is not a yard dog. That is an
But
inside the house dog.
that's
Bullshit.
that was my example of exploitation. Those dogs are being exploited.
Well, so you think they put the dog on the chain
sure they
and
got
then
a bad
did the
life.
video?
Sure, they got a bad life, but does that give them the right to take and exploit that to make money? When you know those dogs.
No,
have been,
no.
those dogs have been brought in.
No.
You know those dogs
That
have been
is
brought
not
in.
exploiting. You have a dog that let's just take one of your puppy dogs in the living room, throw them out on a chain, out in the yard, in the middle of an Ohio winter, and you don't bring them in the house, and you're just disrespecting this animal.
You're missing the point.
That's what you're doing. Now, think about how many morons in the country, because trust me, with our other topics, if we ever get to them, you'll find out about how many morons we have in the country that will do these things. Now, someone has to step in and help these animals. Now, at the same time, it costs money to take care of these animals. And if you're, now if you're sending money to company XYZ and they're not helping the animals, okay, you've been exploited. But if they're actually helping the animals, then great. But no, I mean, you got to take care of the puppy dogs and the kitty cats and whatever else because they can't do it themselves necessarily. I mean, we could have a dog. Okay, so we got a dog out here that you just left out in the lurch. And well, guess what? That dog might eat your cat. Because, well, guess what? He ain't ate in a week or two and he's hungry. And that dog will go back into its primal state and eat that cat because he needs to eat, he needs food. So, this is not necessarily a bad thing.
Well, you need to separate a couple of things. Exploitation, and I thought about this as you were talking. The exploitation side is, sure, they need money to take care of the animals. I'll give them that. But these places are supposed to be 501c3s, and what we need to do if we're going to really debate this, and as this goes for the Shriners too and whatever, we need to take and go to we need to go to the internet and find out what the bottom lines are on these companies, on these 501c3s. And
I agree, because
and
when
we'll-
you're talking about the Shriners, you know, it may be that, okay, this much money is going to the kids, and then the CEOs are walking
are
home
lining
with,
their
you know,
pockets
$300,000-$400,000 a year that they're
or
making
more,
off of their commercials.
or more. Let's try millions of dollars.
Possibly,
Even.
yes.
You know,
So
it
I'm
would
with
be-
you on that.
I think it would be fun to research that and find out what they are actually making as opposed to what they're donating to the cause. You can you can say, oh, we're completely we're a 501c3 group. We take and donate a couple $1,000 a year to help the cause. Well, a couple $100,000 a year may not be shit. May not be nothing. And you know, my thing here is the fact that, you know, the exploitation of it is just trying to line the president or the management team of the place that's trying to line their pockets. You know, you just never know, and it's that not only goes for the Shriners and whatever, but it also could go theoretically to the animal shelters and that. So I think we need to do some research. We got several shows coming up here. We probably ought to take and do some research and re-argue this once we find out. What other? Let's do the TikTok thing next. You ready for that? We got about another 15
I don't know.
minutes.
Do we actually have anybody listening?
I probably
Because
not.
this
But
is the one where I thought I might actually piss some people off.
this is actually going to the. We're going to YouTube. We're going to Twitter, Twitch, Rumble, and
Well, but you can't tell if anybody's listening.
I can't tell, no. But
Okay,
sooner or
well,
later, there is
okay.
going to be people listening to it because it does pick up into the flow. We usually, a week or so later on Twitch, we'll have 100 and something watches. Or not on Twitch, on Rumble. Twitch usually gets about 50, 60 sometimes when we're good. Sometimes it's as low as about 5 or 6. Twitter, we do all right there, maybe 10. But, you know, so people do watch this stuff eventually. It's not an instant thing. There may not be anybody watching now. I can. Actually, we've got two people on Facebook. And there's actually five. It looks like there's 5 people watching us right now.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, at least somebody watching. All
Yeah,
right.
people scan around. They find the.
Let's raise some hell.
All right. Let's talk about Mr. TikTok. The background on this, and this is why one of the things I told Dale I wanted to discuss, is the fact that the United States is actually trying to ban TikTok. The government's trying to ban them. All right. I asked Dale what his opinion was on it before he heard what I had to say. And what he said was, Dale, you want to answer me? You for or against it?
I don't know.
You told me
what I told you at the time, but
you told me you were
you
for
know, right
removing it.
now, I would tell you that I am twisted.
Well, we all know that.
Because you know, we started to have the First Amendment conversation along with the Second Amendment
The people
conversation,
don't, the people don't know
if
that.
you give a little bit here, they're going to continue to take more, and
Everybody out in the listening audience doesn't know what we talked about, so let's drag this.
So I kind of delved a little bit deeper into it, and have kind of come up with what I believe to be an answer to the situation of why the U.S. government would want to get rid of TikTok.
Well, the thing with TikTok that I've understood is that the government thinks it's giving too much information to the Chinese. That's a big part of it. And
absolutely,
when they started talking about that, it kind of made sense. But then all of a sudden, you start seeing these ads on television, and it's got this guy saying, my whole business is on TikTok, and if you take that away, I'm going to lose millions of dollars, and blah, 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 blah. And I'm not going to have as much business, and it's going to make me, it's going to make me mad because you should not be messing with TikTok. Now, the thing here, and this might hurt some nerves. The thing with this, though, is you don't know who sponsors these commercials. Is it actually a business in the U.S.? Is that business in the U.S. sponsored or anything in any way by the Chinese? Now, let's take the issues. Let's take the liberal or Libra scale balance.
The liberal? Obviously, we're going to take you. Obviously, you're going to take the liberal.
Let's do the scale
side.
Let's do the scale balancing here. That's what I wanted to say. On one side, you've got the if you take that away, you've got the First Amendment right. People got a right to talk, no matter where it's at. You've got the Second Amendment right. You got several rights that are being walked over by the government. On the other hand,
no, not yet.
On the other hand,
not yet.
On the other hand, you got the Chinese that can very easily steal or look at some of the information that's being passed on there, and it's not good for the government, or it's not good for the United States as a whole. Now, what do? That's the question. Oh, I'm getting a message from Ellie Cargill. We're going to get hell now. But anyway, what do you think? Do you take and give away?
What do I think?
Do you give away your First Amendment and Second Amendment? You're right.
My opinion was to slash out all social media and possibly part of the internet until it's revamped and the people of the United States get some brains. Because where the issue lies here is every time you log on to something or you create a new program, whether it be Twitter, Facebook, this or that, you have the terms and license agreements, and they tell you what they can do, what they can't do, and whatnot. And you know what? Does anybody read it? No, we don't read it. We just press the button and we accept it and we let it go. How much information that we put out there goes to the United States government every single day. Now, so because they're not stupid, you have the United States government going, "Oh shit! Well, we don't want that information going to China because if we can get it, they can get it too." So obviously they're like freaked out about it. Why? Because you have a society now that is so stuck on their telephones or their computers or their little laptops or whatever that my friend has this. I gotta have it. I gotta get this. I gotta get that. I gotta get something else. You have a society of people right now running around that have absolutely no idea of what critical thinking is. And we're graduating kids from high school that can't do things that I did in the second grade, let alone probably what you did through your younger school days, because we're so computer oriented and well, especially telephone oriented. Gotta have my phone. Gotta have my phone. Bullshit. And that's how our own government is gathering information. And now, oh shit. Oh, wait a minute. Well, I guess another government could gain that information too. Well, no shit. So now you want to ban TikTok. The problem is maybe if you teach your people in your country to have a fucking brain, then maybe you might be able to not worry about it. Because there wouldn't be so many people on TikTok.
But the thing of it is, you're never going to be able to get the public educated that much, Dale.
Well,
a lot
okay.
of people.
So,
a lot of people
this starts with the dumbing down of our society. It started, and the government, trust me, does not want you to know what you need to know. So that's why you have so many people voting by what they saw on NBC, ABC, MSNBC, whatever news, because they don't do their own proper research. You have people that they're taking all their information from what is thrown at them in social media. And government likes that. Because what are we doing? We're making the people dependent upon what we tell them to do. This goes back to where I say critical thinking is gone.
Oh,
people
that's
don't utilize critical thinking anymore.
That's flipping obvious. You know, I'm 70, almost 70 years old. I've seen, 4 generations now? Well, actually, yeah, almost 4 generations. And what I was taught in elementary school, high school, junior high school, and all that was your basic math, reading, writing, and road to Akron. But we won't go to the road to Akron because I was from the South. But when it comes down to this, you're not getting that. And when you are, the ones that are actually making the grade are actually going to turn out to be halfway decent human beings. But those are few and far between. Now, I got a theory about this. My theory was This all started back in about right after the Vietnam War, back in the 1960s. I think the war was over in 72. This all started during that with the free love, the just go at it to have fun, and don't worry about the consequences. If you got a kid, you got a kid. That doesn't mean it's got to have the father's got to live with you. Now, one parent homes to me are the most difficult thing I could ever imagine, because you have no male influence there to say, "Look, you stupid little ass."
Well, see, I got to stop you for a minute, because nowadays I'm seeing a lot of homes where the male is the only one in the home, and the female is actually the one that is gone.
I haven't really seen a whole lot of that. Either way, you don't have that other influence to either put the affection into the child, you know, and the father to say, "This is not the way you're supposed to act in society. Stop it." And I know with myself, my girls and my son, I was there for the most part for them, even though I wasn't in the home. But you ain't got that now. You ain't got these fathers. A lot of these fathers just plain don't give a crap, and they don't. Oh, if you want to come over, that's fine. If not, I'm not. I don't care that much anyway. Come if you want to. And this is where you're screwing up society. And it all started back in what I think is about 68 to 70. Now, if you had a single family home, or you had you had two parents in the home, I bet you half of the issues as far as the shootings and that kind of stuff, I bet you half of that would stop. It would have to, because the parent would be there to correct the action before it happened. You know, I've always been one that
Possibly.
I've always wanted my kids to be smart. I had to take, because I wasn't in the home, I had to figure out ways of making them realize, this is dumb. And I think I did a fairly decent job of it, needless to say. But the whole thing comes down to, if you had a two-parent home where the kid was actually loved a little bit and could see the love, I think that some of the shootings would stop, because these kids the kids that do the shootings, especially 16, 18, 20-year-old, they have no sense of how they're supposed to act in society. If they knew how to act, they wouldn't have guns. They wouldn't have the damn, there wouldn't be a need for them. Sometimes it's for protection, but that protection turns into a gang. And that's, to me, that's just wrong. And boy, did we get off of TikTok.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but I can't disagree with you. I mean, it comes down to the home, and what you're doing in the home, because
How were you raised? How were you raised?
Huh?
How were you raised? Were you raised?
Go
I'll let you go ahead.
ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead with, because you were asking a question.
Were you raised? First of all, let's have a little background on the way you were raised as far as your family. Yeah, I know your mom was there. What about your father?
Absolutely not.
Well,
I could count between the time before I hit 18, um, a few times. Let's just put it at that. My mom would take me to birthday parties over at the father's house. For he had a new wife and had new children and stuff, but she would take us over, and when we got home, my sister and I would fight for the bathtub because we wanted to get clean because of the filth and everything that we saw in that home. Um, it was, yeah, just not a pretty thing. Um, my relationship with my father was pretty much nil. I saw him, as I grew up, a few times. The one time I almost went to fisticuffs with him, but my mother stopped that somehow. Well, because I don't know, apparently he was ready to start a fight with me, and she kind of stopped that abruptly, and it didn't happen. But in the end, um, you know, I went to see my father, and for me, I made amends with my father. I told my father that I loved him, and he had just had a surgery, and Justine took me down to West Virginia. Yeah, of course, West Virginia. Here we go. Um, and I told him, I said, we haven't always been, we haven't always seen eye to eye, but you're my father, and I love you. And he said something to me about going fishing. And shortly after that, maybe a month or two later, he passed away. And, that was the end of it. So, no, my upbringing came from uh, my mother and my grandparents.
All right, I got a couple of questions now. That
Oh, sure.
do
Go
you
ahead.
do you feel that if there was a stronger male influence in your family, that there would have been changes in you?
Absolutely.
Did I, with your mother being
Now, don't get me wrong. I had male influence kind of most of the way through my life. My mama dated a gentleman that, treated my sister and I like we were his children. But the unfortunate problem with that was he was pretty much no different than we were. So, I mean, this is the guy I'd go to in high school to go buy me beer, So, um, yeah, if I'd have had a proper male influence, mm, my life may have gone in a different direction. I don't think my life would have gone in a different direction, but some of the situations in my life, I do think would be different.
okay? Along that same line, yeah, I was the way I was raised. I hardly ever saw my father after I was about 7 years old, and my mother was the one that instilled most of my beliefs and everything else in me. I was the one thing that my father did. He was Catholic, and he put me into the. Had when I was born, him and my mom agreed that I should be baptized into the Catholic Church. Okay, that being all said, my mother was the one that instilled most of the beliefs and everything that I have. and she installed my senses of my my common sense. I guess you could call it that. Did your mom do that with you, or where did that come from? Where did you
So I
where do you
had
feel you got
a
the
little
common
bit
sense?
different. I had a little bit different experience. Um, Growing up in my grandmother's house, you know, grandma, grandpa, me and my sister, you know, to up till a certain, you know, age, whatever. Um, we went to church. Mom didn't always go. There were times when mom went, maybe when Jennifer and I were singing in the choir or doing a Christmas pageant or doing something like this. But other than that, my grandparents are who I went to church with. So as I started to grow older, I got my, I guess you would say, morals and religious aspects of my life, mostly from my grandmother, because
Uh,
my grandfather had a stroke when I was very young and couldn't speak and whatnot. Um, but from my mother, I received my street smarts, how to navigate through life and understand things that were going on around me.
you and I've
So
got
it's
a
kind
lot
of
in
a
common.
two-sided coin there.
You and I've got a lot in common. 'Cause that's the way my mother was a. She was a single mother after I was 11, and that went on for about 2 or 3 years. She kept a house, she kept a roof over our head, and she kept dinner on the table and stuff like that. She always said, if you're living in my house and you're gonna be at the supper table on Sunday evening at 6 o'clock. Period. No exception.
Well, that was every day of the week.
And so,
That was every day.
I lived to learn to live with that. It couldn't be that way with my mom because my mom worked, and she worked second shift most of the time. So I was, she would come home from, she worked at a restaurant, and she'd come home 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night most times, and get me ready for bed and whatever, and and she kept a roof over her house. My dad had pretty much did some stuff to my siblings that I won't go into, but it turned out that you know my mom was a smart lady. I got a lot of that feeling from your mom when I met her, but it is what it is. That's where I got my street smarts, and it's kind of funny that how the two of us argue like this, and we do have a lot in common. There was a comment made at 5:47. Ellie Cargold says, "I'm listening," and at 6:04, her comment was, "And I was thinking I wouldn't need any wine tonight." Wrong.
Amen, sister.
So anyway, let's give it another couple of minutes here, and then we got to wrap it up because I got to get ready for the next show. If we're going to do one, I haven't really decided yet, but I don't want to disappoint a bunch of people. Let's see, what quick can we talk about? We've already covered the ones that I thought we would need to cover. As far as the God thing, we'll postpone that till next week.
Oh, say you got the God code or the God gene and uh what was the other one?
Or was Christ an alien?
The God gene and is God an alien?
Yeah, was Christ or is God?
That's what you told me to research.
What was Christ an alien? Well, I don't really
Um,
want to get into that much because we only got a couple minutes here. So let's.
I would just say, in my research, I started out in one direction, and this is one I twisted off in the other direction, and I would say no. My answer is absolutely not.
Well, I disagree with you.
Christ is not an alien.
Oh, then how? Then how did he get here? And what did he do?
Huh?
How did he do what he did? Was he a visitor?
So wait a minute. Are we talking about? Because you said, "Is God an alien?" Are you talking about Christ?
I said, is Christ an alien at first?
No, well, Christ and
and
God are the same thing.
No, not necessarily.
I would say still.
That's why you have the Trinity.
No.
The Trinity.
Uh,
That's why you have the Trinity.
Absolutely, you have the Trinity. And I would say no. Because if you have to. Now, see, you said you only had a couple minutes.
And,
But if you look into, well, first off, you have to look at your definition of what an alien is. It's coming from another world or differing in nature or character, typically to the point of incompatibility, which, well, let's just describe Jesus himself.
Let's just table this for this week. I'm going to be ready for you.
You might want to because
I'm going to show
got like Bible scripture listed out and all kind of things.
I'm going to show you stuff that came from back in the before Christ time, and
well, if you want to go into the God gene, I have that stuff too.
I think we should table it for this.
I mean, it's so you can go back before Christ's time all you want. But I'm still going to stand firm that God is not an alien.
Then where'd he come from?
I will stand firm on that.
Then where'd he come from?
Huh?
Then where did he come from?
God is God.
Where did he come from?
Do you believe in your Bible?
Yeah, but that's beside the point. Where did God? Who created God?
Who created God?
What created?
Well, you know what?
What created God?
Well, there's no information on there about that. My faith tells me that God is there. Now, if you want to talk about
why is he there?
He can't, it can't be an.
I'm setting you up. I'm setting you up, Dale. I'm setting you up.
Okay, all right. Let Genesis 1:1. It says to you, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth.
Well, who created God?
So now you notice that this is plural.
Who created
God? So
God?
basically, where this goes to is there are in many religions, and I've watched it, and well, the only religion I haven't seen that recognizes this is Catholicism, but they recognize the levels of heaven, but they don't call it the levels of heaven.
You got levels of hell too.
Well, that I don't know. See, to me, hell is hell, and
who created hell?
Heaven is heaven.
Did God create hell? Who created God?
Absolutely.
Who created God? Did he just appear?
Well, there has to be. What do they say about God? The Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end.
Yeah. So what created
God was the beginning of all of this, So
Who took a nuclei in one hand and a nuclei
so
in the
what
other?
you want to say
and
is,
went
okay, I
smash?
want to say John Joe down the road created God. Well, who created John Joe?
That's
Well,
right.
John Joe was created by Betty Sue. Well, who created Betty Sue? How far down the line do you want to go?
Before God.
Huh?
Before God. You know, Dale.
There was nothing
I'm not,
before God.
well, there had to be. Then who created God? How did it?
Nothing.
How did God create? How was God made? If there,
Well, how was he made? I do not know. But God is God.
well,
And he was
who
the
made?
first thing out there.
Well,
You're not going to get me. You're not going to chase me down and get me to change
I'm going to show
my
you.
beliefs.
I'm going to show you stuff in the next
You
week.
could show me all kind of stuff.
I'm going to show you stuff in the next week or so that'll shake your beliefs in it.
Oh, you ain't going to shake my. No.
I can come
You-
up with stuff.
You really think that you're going to shake what I believe? How long have you known me? Oh, well, we were talking about that earlier.
25.
It's like pushing 25 years. And you think you're going to change how I feel.
I'm.
Now, you as a religious
you
man
know, as me
in
being
the
in,
Catholic, you as a religious man in the Catholic Church are going to tell me that all of a sudden you think God is a fucking alien.
I'm
And
not
how
saying
do you believe it so?
I'm not saying that I believe that, but I'm saying that there is proof both ways.
Proof.
It could be
No,
or not.
if there's proof, there's proof.
If there is proof each
If it's
way.
true, it's true. If it ain't true, then it ain't true.
There is proof each way, and we'll discuss that next week.
Okay, this could be
You-
interesting.
You think about
All right.
You think about this for the next week.
I don't need to think about it. I already got my notes.
What I'm going to do, I'll create. I may show you a little video here and there, or something to that effect, and you're going to go at the end of that. You're going to go, maybe, and you have to want. I'll also put a belief in your head where an alien could have been what started this race. It could have started the human race. It could have been one big experiment. But I'll show you that. I got some clips in that I'll show you next week, and it'll take you. We can also discuss Sodom and Gomorrah and what happened there and how it actually was traced back on the on it. The history of it was traced by way of the stars. You know, we're going to make this really interesting. So anyway,
So you want to talk about the Bible with Sodom and Gomorrah and proving the Bible being correct while
it very well could be.
trying to,
I
in
think
another conversation, talk about the Bible's full of shit and Jesus Christ was a fucking alien.
Well, you're closing your mind.
Now,
Dale.
how are you going to pull that off?
Open your mind. Dale.
I welcome that.
Open your mind. You're closed
Oh,
minded.
gosh.
I'm going to be in.
I can't figure out how you're going to do that
I'm going to
in
be
the same conversation. But he just said they all this, and then all of a sudden he's going to say the God turned them into pillars of salt and Sodom and Gomorrah and whatnot. And really,
I'm gonna.
you're going to pick a road and follow it.
I'm gonna.
I picked my road,
I'm gonna open
and
your
I will
mind.
continue to follow it.
I'm opening your mind, Dale.
You ain't opening my mind to shit.
I'm gonna be so far in your mind, you're gonna think you're me. Anyway, let's go ahead and wrap this up for tonight or today.
All right.
We will. Thanks for being here, Dale, and anybody else that's tuned in. I hope you had fun listening. It took us a little while to get this started, but this is going to probably be a. What do you want to do? Every other week?
It's on you.
All right, let's try every other week. We'll be here a week from next Sunday, and open for more discussions here. If that works for you, it works for me. We'll just do this bi-monthly, or two and a half times a month, whatever it works out to be. But anyway, look for us in 2 weeks, and we'll see you then. Don't forget, coming up, we got Radioactive if we decide to do it, which probably will. And we also are going to have the Nanosecond podcast coming up on Monday. Tonight's show is, we were supposed to have a guest, but he ended up canceling at the last minute. So this will be whatever I can come up with in a half an hour. Anyway, let's go ahead and wrap this and say goodnight, Dale.
Good night.
The views and opinions expressed by the Art of Argument podcast are those of its hosts or guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Crooked River Radio, Crooked River Media, its entities, or affiliates. Any content provided by its hosts or guests are their own opinion and are not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, club, organization, company, or individual. And now it's time for the argument.